In my younger and more vulnerable years, my father gave me some advice that is still turning in my mind ever since. Whenever you feel like criticizing anyone, just remember that all the people in this world have not had the advantages you've had. He didn't say any more. And we've always been unusually communicative in a reserved way. And I knew he meant a great deal more. In consequence, I am inclined to reserve all judgments. A habit that has opened up a few curious natures to me and also made me the victim of not a few veteran bores. F. Scott Fitzgerald, The Great Gatsby. In this introduction to the great American novel, we meet Nick Carraway, our narrator and also one of the central characters in our story. In this section of the story, he is telling us what he believes and how he came about to believing it. And towards the end, he's going to tell us how Gatsby took those beliefs and flipped them upside down. I chose this section because I believe in the lesson that Nick has learned from his father. I believe as Christians it is so important also. And that lesson is, no matter who you meet, no matter who they are, no matter where they come from, we are called not to criticize people. We are called to love them the way that Christ loves the church and loves us. The abnormal mind is quick to detect and attach itself to this quality when it appears in a normal person. And so it came about that in college, I was unjustly accused of being a politician because I was privy to the secret griefs of wild, unknown men. Most of these confidences were unsought. Frequently I feigned sleep, preoccupations, or a hostile levity whence I realized by some unmistakable sign that an intimate revelation was quivering on the horizon. For the intimate revelations of men, or at least the terms in which they use to describe them, are usually plagiaristic and marred by obvious suppressions. Reserving judgments is a matter of infinite hope. I am afraid that I might miss something if I forget that. As my father snobbishly suggested, and I snobbishly repeat, a sense of the fundamental decencies is unequally parceled out at birth. And now that I've boasted of my tolerance in this way, I come to the admission that it has a limit. Conduct is founded on the hard rock or the wet marshes. But after a certain point, I don't care what it's founded on. When I returned from the East last autumn, I felt that I wanted the world to be in uniform. And at a sort of moral attention forever. I wanted no more riotous excursions with privileged glimpses into the human heart. Only Gatsby, the man who gives his name to this book, was exempt from my reaction. Gatsby, the man who represents everything for which I have an unaffected scorn. If personality is an unbroken series of successful gestures, then there was something gorgeous about him. Some heightened sensitivity for the promises of life, as if he were related to one of those intricate machines that registers earthquakes 10,000 miles away. This responsiveness had nothing to do with that flabby impressionability that is dignified under the name was an extraordinary gift of hope. A romantic readiness that I have never seen in another human being, and is likely I shall never see again. No, Gatsby turned out all right in the end. It is what preyed on Gatsby, what dust floated in the wake of his dreams, that temporarily closed me out. To the abortive sorrows and short-winded elations of men. Sometimes you meet a person who flips your world upside down, and they are complete opposites of what you thought they would be. And I want to challenge us to not take those people for granted, and not to toss them to the side, but to love on them the way that Christ calls us to. Thank you for your attention.